Matthew Morris, MM Wood Studio. Today is Wednesday, April 20th, which means it's time for another weekly shop update. So what's been going on in the shop this week? Well, a lot. Check it out. All the joinery, well, not all the joinery, all the bridal joinery that is, for the legs is done. I am ecstatic. So on the last update, I showed you guys making the jigs and then routing out the waist, which created tenons in both the feet and the table supports up here. Or at least these table supports on the leg. There's other ones that get made later. But then when that was done, the following day, as I said in the update, I was going to start work on creating the mortises and the posts here for the leg. And that's what I did. So let me walk you through everything that's happened. The first thing I did was take my rough leg posts and mill them up. Now this part here is really, really important, because what you want to do is you want to mill this guy up so that when you put it into the spot you just route it out, that it's maybe, 3/4 thousandths of an inch too thick. And what that does is it compresses the wood on the post here, and later on when you actually clean up this material, so I use a hand plane, maybe you would be sanding it, but either way, that allows you to see where the compression is, so you know that it's a visual guide, so you don't go too far, so all of a sudden you create a gap where there was none before. After milling everything up, then it was time to cut this to length. Unfortunately, with my sled, with my blade on my table saw raised to its total height, it's just a little bit too short, to maybe 1/8 of an inch or so, to cut this all at once. So what I end up doing is I make a cut, and then over at the bench, I grab some water, a block plane, and I remove that couple of thousandths of an inch, maybe a little bit more, of material that's left thickness-wise, about 1/8 of an inch tall, and I get everything nice and flush. And I double check that with a square. With all that nice and flush and everything ready to go, it's time to head over to the table saw. Now at the table saw, what I end up doing is I take an average measurement of the thickness of each one of my parts, and I cut each joint one at a time, unless two joints equal the same thickness or within 1/1000th of an inch. At the table saw, I start by cutting in the center, and I keep moving out 1/16th of an inch at a time, which actually equals an eighth of an inch, because you're making a cut on both sides of the piece. And then when I get really close, I use the little dial on my Incra table saw fence to move 1/1000th of an inch at a time until I make my cut the same width as the thickness of the tenon. After all that, I do a dry assembly and check everything out. Now, if there's a little bit of a gap in your joinery, it's very fixable. With a chisel and a little bit of hand work, you can easily close this space up. Now, for the top joint over here, there's not an indent like there was for the one down here. So, and the reason for that is I'm trying to hit a very particular spot here, versus here I can be off by a little bit. So I try to remove a little bit of waste on the top of the joint here. Here, I'm not trying to do that at all. I want to make sure that all of the weight from the table is supported by this piece, both of them, through the legs, down all the way to the feet. Now the columns here, they're going into 1/4 of an inch of walnut in this foot. So that's a ton of support, as well as all the glue surface, and they're going to be pinned. So there's a ton of support down here. These guys up here, it's going to be pinned as well, but I wanted all that weight to channel all the way down and not rely on a glue joint, but just gravity up here. So these guys, I take a shoulder plane to, and I remove the ridges from the table saw blade. Now, I don't use a dado set here because I'm removing a lot of material out of this, and I want a nice, clean cut. So to get that nice clean cut, I make sure I have a nice sharp blade and I clean that blade before I do any of this work. And that's where we're at in this part of the project so far. The next step for this is to cut the mortises all the way through this leg for the trestle. That'll come, the trestle will be attached, the mortise will come all the way through, and just like in the video for the tour of this table, it'll get a wedge right here on the outside. Now I want to show you something really, really cool. So I kind of checked the Lie Nielsen Tom's Toolbox section of the site, I would say every couple of days, and I saw something really cool pop up last week. So all of you know I have a Lie Nielsen 102 low block plane. That's this bronze guy right here because it comes out and it's used, well, all the time. Beautiful plane, right? And I've had this for quite some time. It's got an A1 blade in it, and I love the plane. Absolutely gorgeous. Well, so much that I decided to buy another one, I guess. Well, actually I bought another one because it's a really cool piece. So I've not opened it up yet. I got it in the mail today. So let's get the box and let's open it up. Alright, so this is the box. It came from Lie Nielsen. Now check it out. As I said, this is a 102 low angle block plane, just like the box here says. But what's that? Okay, that's where they indicate the blade, and this is a W2 blade. It's not an A1 or O2. Lee Valley's got the PVM 11. No, this is W2. What's up with this? Well, according to their site, as you can see right now, this plane was made in the 1990s, early 90s, and using W2 steel instead of A1 or O2 or A2, I'm sorry, A2 and O1. So let's open it up. So here's the box. Now I think it's in a newer box, to be honest with you, because it says April 11th or something like that, 2016 on it. So my guess is they put it into a newer box. But according to the website, as I just showed you in that picture I'm showing you right now, it says it was made in the early 90s. So let's open this guy up. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Now here's the really cool thing. Right there. Yep. That's why I bought this plane. It's signed by Mr. Thomas Lie Nielsen himself, so I couldn't pass it up. But there's definitely a difference between these two planes. Yeah, the little thumb part here, or where you put your finger, this one's larger than the newer one. The casting where the name is for Lie Nielsen's a little bit different in size. So my question of the week to you guys is this. Do you have a cool tool like this, or what is your cool tool? Let me know. I'm really interested. Leave that in the comments for this video. And as always, please subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends, and hit that thumbs up button if you like this video. If you're watching this on Facebook, hit the like button, share your timeline, and head over to the MM Wood Studio page. And as always, have a great week in the shop.